Hello everyone and welcome today to our webinar. My name is Martina and I'm the moderator of this online session on behalf of the school selection platform Unimi. In today's webinar, you will learn more about the Global Executive MBA program at NEOMA Business School. This is one of the top business schools worldwide. I would like to thank you all for joining us today, and I want to welcome our panelists on behalf of NEOMA Business School. Kathleen Boubet, she is a Global Executive MBA Recruitment and Business Development Manager. Dr. Sami Attaoui, Academic Director at NEOMA Business School. Adrian Ionita is here. He's alumni of the program. He will tell more about himself. And Arnold Migan, also EMBA graduate, and they will tell you more about their experience. If you have any questions, please write them down in the chat box or in the Q&A section anytime during the webinar, and they will take time to answer them at the end of this webinar. Now, I would like to give the word to you guys.
Okay, thank you very much, Martina. Thank you all for attending this event. Today, there will be a good exchange between our academic director of the Global Executive MBA program, Professor Sami Attaoui, who's here, and we have decided to invite two of our alumni who are Arnold Migan, who graduated in 2007, and Adrian Ionita, who just graduated recently. We want to illustrate what's in the program through their testimonials, and this is the way we will present and conduct this session, and we hope you will like it. We want it to be spontaneous, so let's start with one question. So Professor Attaoui, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us more about your vision about the program first. Then you'll pass it on to Arnold and then to Adrian, so they can introduce themselves briefly.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. I'm very happy to be with all of you in this session that we aim to give you more information about our program. So my name is Sami Attaoui. I'm a professor of finance and the academic director of the program. This is so the program is based on two pillars, sustainability and innovation, and it aims at helping leaders envision the way they want to progress in their corporations and how to develop their business skills. So this means that you need to start by reinventing yourself. This is we help you transform yourself to be an effective leader. We also give you the tools and the skills to have a global and a big picture of the organization that gives you the opportunity to know how to create value for the firm or organization. And of course, all this needs a capacity to innovate. And we have a curriculum designed to enhance your innovation capacity and I mean, in a way that you can design solutions to your businesses. So this is a brief description of our program. Of course, we are a program that has 3 intakes, one in February, October, June, and October, and we are a global. This is a global executive MBA. So if we want to understand what is exact, so you know, Master of Business Administration, all right, this is it means that you are not a specialist, but actually a generalist, someone who has different approaches. And then it's executive because it's part-time, a week every month, and it's a global because we are a China track, we are Iran, we have Iran track, and we have a track in France, and these people work together, and we will be in a team composed of people that with a different culture, different experiences, and different actually part of the world. And this is the global of our program. I will probably give you more information later on, Katali.
Yes, thank you very much, Sami. Thank you for this brief introduction to the program. We'll have the occasion to come back to more in detail to all the good things you just told us. I'd just like to give the floor to Arnold. Arnold, can you introduce yourself briefly and tell us what you're doing currently?
Sure, thanks, Kathleen. So my name is Arnold Migan, and I graduated from the Global MBA in 2007. In 2007, I run and I'm currently a founder and president of HUG, the Human Growth, which is a company who help organizations in terms of wellness and well-being activities, as well as mental health, and helping the management teams about how to behave with good leadership in our today's world.
Thank you very much, Arnold. Adrian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so graduated in 2020, and I'm currently working as a project manager for a Danish software company, which is called Systematic. And throughout my career, I've been working mostly in companies in the field of finance or IT security. So I've had the opportunity to work for Societe Generale, Deutsche Bank, Coface, and American Express. And for the past couple of years, I'm working mostly in companies in IT security. So yeah, looking forward to this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. So I'd like to go back to you, Sami, about the three pillars that you just mentioned. I find interesting that we have in this panel two alumni working in with different backgrounds and working in different industries with different projects as well. I think this reflects what we implement in the program, and you're currently working on modernizing our program and put some more energy and some of your energy, by the way, into this program. So tell us more about the three pillars, and especially the one which is about transformational experience, especially a leadership one.
So exactly, this is we gather people from different backgrounds in terms of experience, in terms of culture, and they have different objectives. And actually, the outcome, as with Arnold and Adrian, is a bit different. One with his own firm, and one working in an organization. But actually, there is a common pool of assets that they can rely on, and these are the three pillars. I can summarize them very quickly. It's you need to transform yourself. You need to be able to create a value to your organization, and you need to enhance the capacity to innovate. And innovate, it means not to manufacture new products. It means that you think out of the box. This is to find solutions. So if we focus on the first element, which is the first pillar, which is transformation, you need to be able to achieve creating value. You need to be able to lead people. You need to be able to interact with others. So you are already a leader, and we upscale. We give you an edge. So we do it in a variety of ways with the specific seminars on leadership. We are leadership with personalized coaching, with courses, with personal development seminars. And the purpose is that you need to be in a situation where you as a leader, you are empowered. And if you are empowered as a leader, you can actually implement the value creation. So this is what we do in
the first pillar. Yeah, and this first pillar, this is the way we decided to display it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in order to push our participants to discover themselves and transform themselves in a way where they can reinvent themselves and realign themselves with their values is about a transformational journey through leadership retreats at 3 different occasions, at 3 different learning curves of the program, which are October, February, and June. And it corresponds to 3 different intakes where we enrich the program with more and more students. So a group starts in October, and then in February there are newcomers who come to enrich the cohort. And then we have a rolling admission until June, which means that we can enroll participants from October from February or June. Next intakes is in February. And for those who are interested to join, we'll give you a link so you can contact us later on. My colleague and I, Virginie and I, are recruiters, and we'll be happy to answer your questions and talk to you during the some interviews. But first, according to the explanation we just heard about the leadership transformation, what are the best outcome that you found during your MBA, Arnold?
Well, first of all, I choose to do that MBA because at some point in my career, and it was quite early in the career, I wanted to change and to move in different direction in the big company I was working in. And for that, I was looking for kind of a program who can provide me with new skills and a wide vision of the world of the industry, by the way. So that's why I went to NEOMA. And during the MBA, what happened is that I perceived, some changes, even not only on what I was learning, but also the way I was thinking things, the way I see things. And with that, I was able to move very quickly in another direction. I changed from the technical field I was working in financial area, and that was during the program. It was even not at the end of the program, but during the program itself. And for me, it was only the beginning of the change. So during the 7 or 8 years which followed, I have to move through finance, marketing, commercial in the same company. Given what I learned from the MBA, and also that kind of how do I call it? That kind of magic that the MBA provide to you, and it's very hard to explain how it happened, but it's something that people perceive, and they just trust you, and you see the change, the power, and also the network around yourself with people I met in the program, people I can exchange with, and that is very, for me, it was a very great experience. I still continue to recommend. I told people, you cannot finish your career without doing an MBA. You have to go through this.
Wow, thank you very much for this very powerful punchline, which I believe was a transformational journey for you. Adrian, would you like to have a word on that?
Yeah. So I could almost say that the experience is similar. So even though I am not a finance guy, I worked in the IT departments of financial institutions. I was expecting from the MBA to be a lot of finance, a lot of talk about Excel's profits, Silicon Valley, Wall Street. I was expecting a lot of that, and there is some of that indeed. But what I saw being emphasized more, and what I indeed appreciated more, was the human side of things. So I actually learned a lot of new words during the MBA. One of them is humanship. Another one is stewardship, and they all run along the same lines of looking out for things, especially people, in the long term, and taking care of the needs of the people, taking care of all the social aspects and resilience in the business, sustainability of the business. And these were not just buzzwords. I could say that I felt it even in, let's say, in the places where you wouldn't expect that to be the most emphasized, like in the trip to New York. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you already started to talk about the trip to New York, while I was more about to ask you about your experience in Marzin. You know, when you started the program, would you like to say a few words about Marzin just before we switch to the international learning experience abroad?
Yeah. So Marzin was a really great experience. Also because of the location, also because of the opportunity to meet and spend a lot of time with the cohort. But technically, I would say that it was very well conducted, because besides the team building activities, all of the technical classes were centered around MBTI, technical ways of building teams, technical ways of measuring team performance, team cohesion. So I think that in that week, almost 1 week spent in Marzin, we received a lot of tools to measure and to formalize and to measure the interactions that take place in a team. So that was very valuable. It was learning and doing at the same time from this point of view.
Thank you very much. Arnold, do you want to say a word about Marzin as well?
Yes, just one sentence, because for me, Marzin is where I started building my MBA family, and it's really where things happen. And it's very important to keep that word family in mind, because for me, that was one of the gifts I got from the MBA.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. I'll give just a little summary about what Marzin is. Marzin is the name of a little village based in the Alps, French Alps, and we bring our participants for a week to spend there some time all together with the cohort, and they have wonderful team building activities led by someone from there who knows very well the place, and they're very spoiled. And this is definitely what people say in the end of a week in Marzin, that they really feel part of a family. What's different in Marzin than what it wasn't existing at that time? When you went to Marzin, we implemented now 2 days of resilient leadership workshops. So we have a coach who lead 2 days workshop where our participants can be all together in order to discover themselves, but also the entire group, and build a relationship among the groups, start getting to know each other and themselves, which is the most important. And we end up the week with a course on organizational behavior. And it's quite powerful, because it starts with team building activities, then it goes to resilient leadership workshop with a coach, and then it ends up like it's a start of the courses with organizational behavior. Sami, now that we spoke about the Global Executive MBA part of leadership development and how to find yourself and become an impactful leader, as we used to say here, would you like to tell us a few words about what creates value to the program, and what's methodologic, what type of methodology would you like to, let's say, how do you want our participants to learn about our methodologies and the pillars that creates value in an MBA?
Thank you, Catalina. I can give, make it very simple. One example, we have a course about, supply chain and the way you see product proliferation. You see, a firm is, when selling many products. And we can show them that actually by reducing the number of products, the firm achieve more value. So we have, this is the example, and we have many more in strategy, in finance, and marketing. And when the focus is on the client, how it's customer-centric strategies. And so we shift the focus of our participants from implementing a business as usual or finding an edge. And to create value, you need an edge. And this is what we do. We work on case studies developed by the faculty of NEOMA or by well-renowned faculty internationally. We use virtual reality. We use a virtual campus. We have a technology innovation. The innovation, pedagogy innovation in NEOMA is skyrocketing. And we bring together students from different backgrounds, China track, Iran track, they work together, and then the solutions they design are very innovative and they create value.
Thank you very much, Sami. I'd like to ask you about professors. You mentioned the supply chain management course, and I know you know very well Professor Menezes. Can you tell us more about his background and his approach to teach in the program?
Yeah, Professor Marzin Menezes, he's a leading professor in operations management, supply chain. He's got, and this is one of the distinctive feature of our program, is that the faculty we rely on have two backgrounds: industry background, so they know what they are talking about, you know, and a strong academic background, track record of publishing, of research. And Professor Marzin Menezes, he combines these two backgrounds. He started his career as a supply chain manager, and he worked in Brazil, and then he moved to Canada, to France, and doing research. He's also conducting extensive consultancy activities to firms, help Danone, for instance, to, I mean, actually think about, you know, this efficiency, this creating value through reducing actually the number of products. And we have also other professors like Svetlana, like Stefan, many in finance and marketing. We have many other professors. All of them, as I said, they combine experience, industry experience, and academic excellence.
Thank you, Sami. I'd like to complement your point. We do have excellent professors at NEOMA, and we also go and look for the best professors in their field when we don't have the competencies inside within our core professors, and or if they don't feel comfortable to teach whatever course, creative course that we can decide to put in our program, we go somewhere to find the best professors. Like we have a design thinking and innovation professor who comes from IMD, and you know, it's current to bring the best. Otherwise, we wouldn't be ranked as so well in the world and being like part of the top 10 school and program in France. So that's part of our academic excellence. We'll get back to that about the Center of Excellence at NEOMA, Sami. But first, I would like to ask Arnold and Adrian, what are the best courses who actually probably the most powerful experience during class? With who? With which professor, or with what was the course? Can you tell us? We'll start with Adrian.
Okay, so it's a very difficult question because I felt that I was really privileged to be a part of this program, specifically because of the reasons that you mentioned earlier. So our marketing professor was a graduate at Harvard. Our finance professor was an associate at UCLA. strategy professor, was a graduate and teacher at HEC, a professor at HEC, and workforce management professor at Columbia. So it's very tough to choose. But I would, if I would to choose two, I would choose Don Sexton's course for the Salesforce management. Professor Don Sexton is a professor at Columbia for many years, and Svetlana Serdyukov. Professor Svetlana Serdyukov is teaching the strategy course, which was also our first technical course after Marzin. And what I highly appreciate about both courses is they are very much deeply rooted into the ground. They both intertwine their course with finance, with important information that is coming up from the financial crisis, from actual practice, from their own companies that they're leading. So they're very complete courses. It's very tough to teach something like management, sales, finance, and strategy without taking into account a lot of other things. And they're doing a great job in this respect, and they're putting so much passion in their courses. So the two professors that I mentioned are really role models for me from any point of view that I can think of.
Wow, thank you very much for this testimonial. Actually, you mentioned Professor Serdyukov, and she's actually one of the professors who's the most quoted by our alumni in terms of being their favorite professor. She's our professor of strategy mainly, but she teaches other courses with different names sometimes, but mainly she's teaching us strategies. And Sami, maybe you can tell us more about Svetlana's background and profile.
I mean, I cannot agree more with Adrian. I mean, she's every time I talk with Svetlana, I understand that the gap is huge between what she can, between her and me. And this is, I agree fully with Adrian. I mean, you have a professor of strategy, of salesman, you cannot disconnect. And if you have at this level, of course, you will, well, I mean, we treat and we tackle the topic strategy, but we cannot disconnect it from marketing, finance, and other supply chain, others. And we have, and Svetlana, she's graduate from HEC. She occupied executive positions in various institutions and even at NEOMA. And so she understands exactly, I mean, the context of a decision making, because when you take a decision, it's so complex because we have many factors to take into account, and these factors are in different disciplines, different fields, different expertise, and yet you need to take a decision. And this is the expertise of Svetlana is very important. I can even talk a bit about Ghana, where
yes,
she's very active. So the participants, as I said, we have the global experience we offer through having courses with China track, but also we have two international learning experiences, one in Ghana and one in New York. So in Ghana, it's a very dynamic country that provides a lot of opportunities. And Svetlana takes the students, takes the participants to Ghana. And they came back 1 month ago from Ghana. And it's I mean, life-changing when you go to it. You see the inspiring young entrepreneurs, magnificent. They are the awareness to engage in sustainability projects, the way these young entrepreneurs articulate their businesses. And our participants, they experience all this in two different ways. Of course, they see how the ecosystem in Ghana is working, and also they supervise, because our participants, they have the expertise, the experience to supervise these young entrepreneurs to better shape their ideas. And so what they did is they mentored for a day, many projects with these young entrepreneurs in Ghana. And Svetlana, she made all this happen with her mentorship, sponsorship, and advice. And she was great. And the participants, they had a very wonderful experience they shared with us at Marzin.
Thank you very much, Sami. For our audience, the program lasts for 15 months. And over 15 months, they have 12 months courses on site with a mix of online courses and on-site courses. We can go deeper into the subject later on, but for the record, there are 2 international learning experience abroad. One is in New York, and it's about the fintech industry. Our participants are brought to visit big banks, and they explain how, their traditional business model is about to change due to the fintech that's growing. We bring the participants as well to visit fintech industries who are, new industries who just grew. It's a change into the business model's capacity. And we also bring the participants to Ghana for 1 week, and they are just back from this experience. The program this trip was led by Professor Serdukov. That's the reason why we talk about her so much. It's very recent because it happened like just a few weeks ago. Our participants grew a lot because they were able to make the difference between what's in the program when we talk about corporate social responsibility, circular economic, high-tech, low-tech, and how is it implemented into an emerging country where the economy is so lively and so dynamic. So I think this is one of the assets of the program, to bring the participants to different countries so they can see and grow their ideas or projects that they would have either in the USA and just to a specific industry where we go and look into the fintech industry, but tech, you can find it everywhere. It changes the world. You can find AI everywhere. Education, we experienced that during the pandemic. We had to change our models in any industry. So that's what we want to bring to our participants. And then we oppose this to this trip to Ghana, where the approach, the entrepreneurship approach is absolutely different. I have a question now to Arnold, who has not been able to tell us more about his life-changing experience during the classes. And then I'll switch to different questions about what were you thinking, what was the outcome of your international learning experience. So Arnold, first, can you tell us about your life-changing experience and favorite professor?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, about the professors, I think I have the choice to tell about 2 of them. The first one being Stéphane Dubreuil, who was able to make me love finance. From understanding the basics, the fundamentals, to being able to really have a high level view of what corporate finance is. And that's really, well, I'm still in touch with Stéphane, and he's now kind of a friend, but a really, really, really impressive person. And the second, which for me is really the first and the top of the top, being Svetlana, of course, about strategy. And I have to thank Svetlana for something which happened very recently, because thanks to what I learned more than 10 years ago, I was able to save my company with the coronavirus virus period, because the business model that I built and the strategy I built around my own company was really strong, and so strong that I was able to go through the crisis without closing my company. And that's really, you know, thank you, Svetlana, for that. She's not aware, but she will probably listen to the replay of this.
We will tell her, don't worry.
Oh, you can't tell her, yeah, but that was really
Thank
great.
you very much for this amazing testimonial. Actually, it's exactly how an MBA, and here we're talking about NEOMA Global Executive MBA experience is a life-changing. You build up your company, you managed to save it because you had a solid business plan, solid business model, and that's what saved you. And you took the best decision of your life when you managed to save your company from the pandemic. And like, congratulations to that. I mean, she did a good job, but you probably did the most important task recently. So congratulations to that, and we hope for the best for your company and for yourself as well. Thank you for sharing this very personal experience as well, because it's very authentic. Tell us now about your international learning experience. I think when we prepared this meeting that you mentioned, you went to New York as well in 2007.
Sure. Yeah, we went to New York with Stéphane Dubray, by the way. So that was a very good experience. As well, we were in China. We were in Beijing, and what you know, what we learned is the cultural difference, and you know, we had that already in the program with students coming from abroad and with different backgrounds. But when we were in China or in New York, we also face different approaches. And today, and that's also what is important to keep in mind today, even 10 years ago, after 10 years, I still have some contacts with people from Baruch, the Baruch colleague in New York, and also from the
Baruch
university
College,
in,
just Baruch College is our partner, local partner over there, right?
Yeah,
It still is.
Exactly. And the same in China, you know, the connection is still there, the network is still there, and that's something I found quite strong.
Thank you. I think it gives me the opportunity now to talk about China a little bit. Thank you for this opportunity, Arnold. We recently opened in April 2021 a track in China. So we have a program now with participants over there, as well as we do have in Tehran, in Iran, and who are there for participants in France. Actually, they are classmates on the way, because we use a wonderful tool that has been developed at NEOMA Business School, which is a virtual campus. And we have this project to use this virtual campus to make sure our participants from our two other countries in Iran and China can participate, network, exchange, and use the collaborative tools that has been developed on the virtual campus. And when I was saying that tech is everywhere and that we also had to adjust at NEOMA, this is it. This is where we start. It's a start of using a tool, which is a virtual tool, where you can collaborate with developed and adjusted means and rooms and ways where our participants can exchange and extend that network and use it. You want to say a word about that, Sami, about the virtual campus and probably the coding school?
Just briefly, the virtual campus, it's a virtual, it's campus, means many rooms, many amphitheaters. Participants come from China, France, Iran, in one course, and they work in groups. They can use all the tools, all the possibilities from the virtual campus, and it makes the experience extremely powerful. And it's very exciting to see how students from different backgrounds interact with each other and try to come up with a solution. And it's very, very interesting to experience.
So our participants from bachelor degrees are using it, and we thought about, you know, we're the Global Executive MBA of a business school who's highly recognized. It's probably time for us to bring our CEOs and executive participants to do this and experience it, because it's the tomorrow's world, and we want them to be innovative. And how can you be more innovative than just be prepared? So that's how we prepare, you know, our participants to collaborative tools through courses like design thinking and innovation, through courses like CSR with a professor called Diana Mongalagiu, who's from Romania, like you, Adrian, and she's amazing as well. And she has a very interesting research on why CSR is not enough. And I remember the first time I organized, you know, it was a masterclass like this, and I was about to interview her, and I was preparing my question. I was like, why such a title? And she was like, I wrote my thesis about that, because we need to go further, we need to go far, and we're not there yet. And it was very interesting and very challenging for me to interview her, because she had tons of examples of companies who are trying, and some are succeeding to become more sustainable. Sustainability is something we teach to our participants, and also we bring them to our campuses that are outside of Paris. So if the main campus here is in Paris, so sorry for the jokes, we cannot show you where the Eiffel Tower is. Geographically speaking, it's behind us, behind Professor Attaoui and I. Professor Attaoui had the best view of the Eiffel Tower, and suddenly the weather changed, and now it's the night, so we can't see anymore the Eiffel Tower, unfortunately. But still, this is the campus where in central Paris, where our Global Executive MBA takes place. And the school was born from the merger of two major schools in France. One is based in Normandy in the west of Paris. The other one is based in Champagne region, where we make champagne in Reims. And both schools are hosting our participants over one seminar where they have the opportunity to discover the specialty of the Center of Research. In Reims, it's about circular economy and sustainability, because the region is quite specialized about agri-tech, because this is where we can find winemakers for champagne. And other than this, we have this other campus in Rouen, where supply chain is really strong in terms of economic activities and smart mobilities as well. So that's also part of the experience now in our Global Executive MBA. But other than this, Adriana, what did you think about your international learning experience?
Well, since I started with New York earlier on, I can also say that it was probably the most powerful for me. So first of all, we went to Baruch College, which is a college in City University of New York. So City University of New York is within walking distance of the New York Stock Exchange. It's the home of Nobel Prize winner for economics, Paul Krugman. And you would expect some kind of, let's say, mindset in that regard. So my expectation was profit, Wall Street, the stock market, charts and graphs. But when I got there, it was completely different from everything that I expected. So they took great pride in the fact that their students graduate with the least amount of student debt out of all the colleges in the United States. And they told us that the way they achieve this is by starting with important microeconomic topics, even from the first year. They teach them accounting as soon as they can. They encourage them to take on their own business or their own job, or study microeconomics to teach students that are high school students. And get some money any way they can by providing for their families with their minds. And they take great pride in this. The professors that we had, so the associate professors that welcomed us there and held that week of the International Learning Experience, one of them was coming from Africa, and he took great pride in his roots and the fact that he came a long distance all the way from Africa towards being a tenured professor in a university in New York. So all this kind of, I think NEOMA would call it societal upheaval. So just making things better for everyone, taking care of the students, like really taking care of them, taking care of their student debt for their lifelong experience that's going to follow after they graduate. So taking care of things like this when you are next to Wall Street, when you're talking with Nobel Prize graduates for economics. So that's a mindset I didn't expect, and that was probably the most powerful experience for me.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
I also got to know, myth or reality, that your final course project that at that time we called the business plan, now renamed as capstone project, I think it had an impact on your day-to-day work. You changed job, right? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So I did indeed change my job. The reason why I chose that project, that subject, was because of my experience in fintech, because blockchain and cryptocurrency was something that was heavily discussed while we were in New York. And at that time, I was working for an IT security company, and was probably looking to, let's say, get back in finance at some point somehow. But let's say the MBA experience, the project, so they convinced me to work more towards smaller companies, maybe with a bigger impact on their employees, maybe companies that have, let's say, startup incubators that have a passion or a drive for everything that is new. And for me, that was a motivation to leave behind, let's say, big banks like Societe Generale and focus more on smaller companies with only a few hundred employees and with, let's say, more of a technical, more startup approach.
Thanks. Very interesting. What would you advise to people who joined us for this session in order to what would be your best advice for people who ask themselves if they should join NEOMA, if they should do this Global Executive MBA in Paris? Because you live in a foreign country and you had to travel every month to take your courses. What was easy? What was difficult? What would be your best tips?
So probably my only tip would be to let yourself dream for the duration of the MBA. Like, follow some ideal. For me, it was the fact I wanted to study in France because France never had an extreme government elected by the people. So the extreme policy is probably the biggest enemy of the 21st century in Europe, and education, proper economic relationships between countries and people, that would be, let's say, the easiest way to solve it. So that's why I chose to study in France. I wanted to spend as much time as I could during this MBA with people who never would elect an extreme policy government. But then
Wow.
I just wanted to read about the people and the places where the company was taking us. So I tried to follow up on the, let's say, on the resumes of the professors that I was coming into contact with. I would never have a chance in my daily work to come into contact with all these kinds of people. Try to read about the universities that NEOMA was taking us to. In Ghana, we went to Ashesi. In New York, we went to Baruch. We also had also a lot of experience, and just let yourself dream, like what would it be like to be in New York, I don't know, 100 years ago? Why did we choose New York? What's happening and what's making it interesting? What problems are they facing? Is it finance? Is it the 2008 financial crisis? Is it, I don't know, is it politics? So just dive headfirst into the experience. That would be my first and only tip.
Wow, thank you very much. One tip, Arnold, that you'd like to share? You're on mute, Arnold.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I think Adrian said almost everything. What I can only add is, do not hesitate. If you are thinking about doing an MBA, go ahead and do it. Don't ask yourself if it's now, tomorrow, or just do it.
Thank you very much. I hope this session was very, I think it's fruitful for us as well. According to your answers, I'm learning, I'll see also like I'm learning a lot by listening to you and your testimonials. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Sami, would you like to have a word before we start the Q&A session? I know we don't have like a lot of time, so.
Well, let's start the Q&A.
Let's start the Q&A. Okay, let's be efficient. Are there any question? Maybe a question from Martina.
I have seen some questions regarding was it online or face-to-face? So we are doing face-to-face, all the classes are face-to-face. The trips, they went to Ghana or face-to-face. So everything now hopefully will be back to normal, and we are
yeah, it's face-to-face and it's on-campus experiences. So we are a school of 3 campuses in 3 different cities, but the major campus where our courses are taught is this brand new campus based in the center of Paris. We are actually on the 5th floor with Professor Attaoui, is just next to me, and just next to us, there is the startup incubator of NEOMA, which looks absolutely wonderful. And we have several startups who are preparing the future of work as well. Is there any question?
Great. Yes, I believe that you have answered almost all of the questions during the event.
Okay.
But there is one question. If I have 8 years of experience, does that put me in disadvantage when it comes to admissions for the Global Executive MBA? Thank you for the informative session.
No, the answer is no. Of course, we need to see what kind of experience and also the degree, what kind of academic degree or knowledge this potential participant has. But 8 years of experience is, yeah, it's something. If the experience is interesting, yes, there is no disadvantage.
And Sami, just to add on top of that, when I did my MBA, I had 7 years experience.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about you, Arnold, because it's the quality of the experience matters more than the length of the experience.
Yes, it has to be a powerful experience. 5 years can be a minimum in order to join our program. Also, it's a question of being mature enough in order to absorb all the courses and do parallels to your professional life in order to enrich the exchange during courses. So our admission jury is really looking for wise participants who can navigate in a company and with different profiles and different exchange, or who lived a different experience, who make them mature enough to join the program.
There is one question related to innovation, and yes, we have at least let's say 40 hours. It's roughly 20% of the program dedicated to innovation, specifically how to the design thinking, how to project visualization, And this is very interesting, of course, way of envisioning the future. You need to start from innovation, and we have a lot of hours dedicated to that. And of course, seminars. So there are the teaching and the courses. Also, we organize seminars, interaction with incubators and entrepreneurs, and we put a lot of emphasis on innovation. Yes.
I see there is a question, it's probably, I'll just rephrase a bit the question. It's more about the professional career that you can have after. So mainly the participants who are starting to their MBA want to grow in their career. And sometimes they have, and it's quite rare, sometimes they discover it at the very end of the program, they become entrepreneurs. But it's more or less about how to grow their career or how to move from being an expert in one field towards some other projects which will be more transversal.
Great, thank you for the answer. I can see one more interesting question from a candidate from Pakistan. If there is study gap acceptable for this program? That's the summarized question.
What does that mean, study gap? Because if I understand, I mean, people come to the program from different backgrounds. They don't have, some of them, they don't have anything, they don't know management as an academic field. They know management from, practicing management in their firms. So if this is the study gap, yes, I mean, of course, I mean, I'm a professor, I'm more comfortable in finance. Others are more comfortable in marketing strategy. And what we do is we rely on hybrid training, asynchronous materials that brings everyone at the same level to benefit from the interactions with the professor. So there is no problem by not being very good in finance or strategy or marketing.
Great.
Are there any other questions?
I can see one more question. How can managers with 50, 60 working hours can manage the program? If you have some tricks, tips and tricks for this anonymous attendee that.
So this is managers should, I mean, they know already that they have to delegate. They have to empower their team so that they can work less and dedicate the time to the program. But this is one of the challenges. That's why the program is an experience itself. It's a journey. It reveals to our participants their potential, themselves. They learn a lot about themselves, and this is the case exactly how to actually doing keep on running our standard regular business and then learning from the executive MBA.
Sami,
yes, I was about to ask.
I think that there's well-being, students' well-being department at NEOMA, right?
Yes.
So probably something to think about for the MBA students as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see there was another question about the background on social impact activities. So I'm just reading the question. No, it doesn't look bad to have no background of, any volunteer or social impact experience on your CV. It's like having a different sample of everything. So when you join an MBA, you're yourself with your own background, and you will meet someone who's different than you. And I think Arnold and Adrian could have spent some time in the same room, in the same cohort doing an MBA, having absolutely different background and absolutely different career paths or life paths. So there is no guarantee to be rejected if you have no knowledge in finance, or if you have no knowledge in social impact, or if you have no knowledge in HR management. You come as you are with all the assets you have.
one of our participants this year has a PhD in chemistry. So it's very, very different. But again, it's he brings on the table his vision, his experience, and his perspective, and this benefits to everyone.
That's really one of the strengths. That's one of the strengths of the program, from my experience at least. Having people from different backgrounds, with different culture, it's really something I appreciated.
And to make it even more diverse, we have another one from the army, a soldier. So in the same cohort, we have a PhD in chemistry and a soldier, and you can see that it's not the same. You know this, and yet they work together. They learn from each other, and this is the purpose of our program.
And just to say something a bit more powerful about the soldier we have in our program, we built up a partnership in order to receive him and host him in the program. And he was doubting during the admission process. He was doubting because he has no knowledge in management. So we started to talk about his experience, and he then started to open and told me he was managing all the material that was necessary in order to protect and help his team during the attacks, like in 2015. So it's the anniversary of Paris attack, and he was coordinating this, and it's super powerful because he has a lot of things to share to people who are professionals, senior professionals, who are bankers, who are PhDs in the chemical industry, or who are working in construction at the executive board, or who are working in different countries or coming from different countries. So how can you be rich and how can you improve yourself? It's by getting to know people who really don't look like you, learn from them, be surprised by them, be challenged by them, challenge them, and challenge your professor as well, because you will come prepared to your courses. It's not as if you come and sit and start learning from your professor and you're like bored and look at the professor. You will never be like this. You will be an active member of the success of your course. And that's what's rich in the MBA. That's the power of the group. That's the power of the network. That's the power of the ambience during the course and what you accept to give and share and to receive at the same time. I hope this answers most of this type of question, like, am I qualified if I don't have the whatever expected subject that we talked about?
Definitely. Thank you so much for taking time for answer these questions. And